I still remember the sound of the principal's voice, that cold, sharp tone, like she had already decided I was guilty before I even walked into the room. It was a Thursday morning, a normal day, or at least it should have been. I was walking down the hallway, holding my math notebook, thinking about the quiz I had next period. The sun was pouring through the tall glass windows. Everyone was talking, laughing, rushing toward their classes. Normal school chaos. And then, my name echoed from the announcement speaker. Hannah Lee, please report to the principal's office immediately. I froze. People turned and stared at me with those curious, nosy eyes. Some whispered, some smirked. Some pretended not to look. But they absolutely were. I didn't know it then. But that single announcement, that single moment, was the beginning of the storm that almost destroyed my life. The principal's office always felt too big, too quiet, too cold. Principal Rowan sat behind her desk, fingers clasped together, staring at me like she was waiting to pounce. Beside her was Ms. Carter, the school counselor, and next to them, my homeroom teacher, Mr. Daniels. My stomach tightened. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a check-in or casual meeting. This was something serious. Sit, Principal Rowan said. No good morning, no how are you, just sit. I did. She slid a printed paper across the desk. I picked it up. My heart dropped. It was a screenshot of a vicious, insulting message sent to another student, Mia Kim, from an anonymous account. But the username was made to look exactly like mine. Same profile picture, same display name, same formatting. But I didn't send this. I knew I didn't. Principal Rowan, I said slowly, calmly, this isn't me. But she didn't blink. Hannah, she said, our digital forensics team traced the message to your student login. I felt the air leave my lungs. My login? My personal school account? But that's impossible, I whispered. I never sent this. I would never say anything like that to anyone. The counselor leaned in with that fake, gentle voice. Hannah, if you admit it now, the consequences will be lighter. My nails dug into my palms. I wasn't going to confess to something I didn't do. Not then, not ever. The principal lifted a stamped letter and placed it in front of me. Effective immediately, you are suspended for 1 week. My ears rang. Suspended? For a message I didn't even send? But I'm innocent, I said. Someone must have hacked me or logged into my account. Hannah, she interrupted sharply. Enough. The evidence is clear. Clear? Clear to who? Certainly not to me. I looked at the 3 adults in the room, people who were supposed to protect students, not punish them without listening. But all I saw were walls, and every wall said one thing. They didn't believe me, or worse, they didn't even care. When I left the office, students were already whispering, "Is that her? She's the one who attacked Mia online." Seriously? I didn't think she was like that. I heard she did worse. No way. She always acts so perfect. Rumors spread faster than the truth ever could. By lunchtime, my name was already a trending topic in our school group chats. And by the time I walked out of the school gates, it felt like the entire world had turned against me. But I kept my chin up because I knew something they didn't. I was innocent, and I was going to prove it. My mom stood in the living room, holding the suspension letter like it was radioactive. Hannah, what is this? Her voice wasn't angry, it was disappointed. Somehow, that hurt more. It's not true, I said. I swear, someone framed me. But she sighed, shaking her head. Schools don't suspend students without evidence. That line hit me harder than the principal's words. My own mother didn't believe me. Not fully, not yet. She told me to go to my room. Think about what you did. Reflect. But what was I supposed to reflect on when I didn't even commit the thing they accused me of? I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, my chest tight, my eyes burning. I didn't cry, not yet, but I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear down every wall around me. I wanted to demand the world to look at me and finally say, "We believe you." But the world didn't care, not yet. 2 days into my suspension, I opened my phone and checked my messages. Buried under dozens of nasty comments and rumors, I saw one thing, one tiny thing, a glitch in the fake account screenshot, a small icon that shouldn't have been there, a notification badge from an app that I didn't have installed. My heart raced. This was it. Proof. The fake account had a different app layout than mine, meaning someone took the screenshot on their device, not mine. Someone who carefully recreated my account, copied my name, stole my picture, but forgot about the tiny app icons. That mistake was going to save my life. Who would do this to me? I whispered. And slowly, faces flashed in my mind. Who hated me? Who envied me? Who wanted to break me? I knew exactly who it might be, and the realization chilled me to the bone. I sat up, wiped my cheeks, and took a deep breath. If the school wouldn't fight for me, if adults wouldn't listen, if even my own mom doubted me, then I would fight for myself. I wasn't going to be the quiet girl who just accepted injustice. Not anymore. They suspended the wrong person. They punished the wrong girl. And the person who truly did this was walking around freely, laughing, watching me fall, not for long, because I was done being their target. It was my turn to fight back, and I was going to do it smartly. I couldn't just sit and wait for someone to magically believe me. That would be the easiest way to lose. And I wasn't going to lose. I pulled out my laptop, my phone, my notebooks, anything I could use. I started retracing everything I had done in the past week, the past month, even the past semester. When had my login been accessed? From where? At what time? I logged into the school's portal. I didn't know much about hacking, but I knew enough to see login histories. And there it was. A line that didn't belong. Log in at 2:17 p.m. Tuesday from the library computer. I never touched that computer. I never went to the library that afternoon. Someone else had. My pulse quickened. This was the lead I needed. This was proof that my login had been used by someone else. I printed it out and made a mental note. Step 1. Find who was in the library that day. The next day, I decided to do what the adults weren't doing. Ask questions. I started with the students who had been in the library on that Tuesday. I approached them casually, pretending I needed help with homework. "Hey, do you remember who was using the library computers last Tuesday?" I asked, trying to sound normal. Most shrugged. Some said they didn't notice, but then one name kept popping up, Lila Park. She always had a sly smile, the kind that made you feel uneasy. She was popular, a little manipulative, and, now I realized, she hated it when anyone else got attention in class. I felt a chill. This could be the person behind the fake account. I knew I couldn't just run to Principal Rowan and say, "Lila did it." They'd never believe me without proof. I needed evidence. So I started planning. Like a detective, like a chess player. Every move calculated, every risk measured. First, I would gather digital proof. Check computer logins, compare IP addresses, look for inconsistencies in the screenshots of the fake account. Second, I would observe Lila discreetly, see if she had access to my school account, watch if she got suspicious when I mentioned the incident to other students. Third, I would collect witness statements. Who saw her near the library computers that day? Who noticed her acting oddly around the time the message was sent? This was no longer just about clearing my name. It was about exposing the person who tried to destroy me, and I would do it carefully. I couldn't risk anyone discovering I was onto her. Not yet. Lila had no idea I was onto her. She continued to spread rumors, whispering to friends, smiling as if nothing had happened. I watched her from afar, observing her patterns. She always lingered near the library during free periods. She always made sure someone was looking when she studied on the library computer, and I noticed it. Her phone lighting up whenever the fake account sent messages. She was sloppy, and that sloppiness was my window. I started documenting everything. Dates, times, screenshots, witness notes, every small piece of evidence was a weapon in my hands. One afternoon, while sitting in the cafeteria, I overheard Lila bragging to her friends. "I can't believe Hannah thinks she's so smart. The screenshot looked just like her. She'll never know it was me." My heart skipped a beat. I had caught her in her own arrogance. I smiled silently to myself. This was the first real confirmation, the first real clue that I was on the right path. For the next week, I became methodical. I tracked library computer usage logs, comparing them with the fake account's activity. I talked to students who had seen Lila in the library. I noted every detail, every inconsistency. Finally, the pieces started fitting together. The IP address from the fake account matched the library computer she had access to. Witnesses confirmed she was at the library during the time of the incident, and her own arrogance, it was a gold mine. She bragged about it, even to people who didn't know I was listening. I compiled all this into a neat folder, screenshots, notes, timelines, every little thing that could prove beyond doubt that I was framed. I wasn't just going to accuse her, I was going to show the school the truth. Even with all this, there were moments when fear crept in. What if the school refused to believe me again? What if they thought I was just attacking Lila out of revenge? What if they suspended me again? Permanently this time. I lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet. The clock ticked too loudly. I realized something important. I couldn't control what others believed. I could only control my actions and my proof, and that realization gave me strength. I wasn't powerless, I wasn't alone, and I wasn't going to stop until justice was served. The moment had finally come. I had all the evidence. I knew the truth. And now it was time to confront Lila, not recklessly, but strategically. I found her in the library, sitting at a table surrounded by her usual group of friends. She was laughing, scrolling on her phone, completely unaware that the walls around her were closing in. I walked over, my notebook clutched tightly in my hands, every heartbeat like a drum. "Hey, Lila," I said softly. She looked up, her smirk instantly appearing. "Hannah," she said sweetly. "What are you doing here, trying to study? Or just spying again?" I smiled faintly, keeping my composure. "I think it's time we talked. Privately." Her smirk faltered just a little. She knew I meant business. We stepped aside, out of earshot. I took a deep breath. "This ends now, Lila," I said. "The messages, the fake account. It was you, all of it." She froze. Her eyes widened. And then the mask slipped. You don't know what you're talking about," she stammered, her voice shaking. But the bravado she always carried was gone. I opened my notebook, showing her the logins, the IP addresses, the witness statements, the timelines, each piece of evidence carefully laid out. "You left traces, Lila," I said. "You were careless, and that's how I found out. You tried to destroy me, but I won't let you get away with it." Her face went pale. I could see the guilt, the panic, the fear, and for the first time, she looked like the one who was powerless. I didn't stop there. I went straight to Principal Rowan. No yelling, no pleading, just the truth, backed by evidence. "Principal Rowan," I said, laying the notebook on her desk, "this proves I didn't do what you accused me of, and it proves who actually did it." She looked at it, scanning each page carefully. Her face changed from indifference to surprise, and finally to regret. "I see," she said quietly. "I apologize, Hannah. We should have investigated more thoroughly before suspending you." I nodded. No celebration, just a quiet sense of vindication. The school called Lila in, presented the evidence, and for the first time, I watched as the person who had tormented me faced real consequences. The rumors didn't disappear instantly, but slowly. Students who had whispered behind my back started to apologize. Teachers who had doubted me acknowledged their mistake. Even my mom. She hugged me tightly, tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. "You stood up for yourself when no one else would." It was a powerful moment, a moment where I realized that sometimes fighting for the truth is the only way to survive. After the confrontation, life started to return to normal. Sort of. I still felt the sting of betrayal, by the school, by Lila, even by some friends who had turned against me. But I also felt something stronger, resilience. I knew now that I could face injustice without crumbling. I knew I could fight back, carefully, intelligently, without letting fear control me. And more importantly, I learned that sometimes the people who try to destroy you reveal who you really are. Strong, smart, and unbreakable. Looking back, I realized something crucial. Life isn't always fair. Sometimes the world will accuse you of things you didn't do. Sometimes people will doubt you, even those closest to you, but the truth has power. Evidence, courage, and persistence can restore it. I learned that justice doesn't always come from adults, or authority, or luck. Sometimes it comes from within. And standing up for yourself, even when the odds are against you, can change everything. After the confrontation, Lila tried to act like nothing had happened. She walked the hallways with her usual confident smile, trying to convince everyone she was innocent. But cracks began to show. Students started whispering behind her back. Teachers began questioning her behavior more closely. Even her closest friends looked at her with uncertainty in their eyes. The truth had a way of leaking out, even when someone tried desperately to hide it. And Lila, who once thrived on control, was losing it fast. I continued collecting statements from students who had witnessed Lila using the library computer or bragging about the fake account. Each testimony was a nail in the coffin of her lies. Every time someone confirmed my story, it felt like a little victory, not just for me, but for fairness. The school finally had to acknowledge the pattern of behavior, multiple incidents of harassment online, attempts to frame another student. Spreading false rumors, I didn't want revenge for revenge's sake. I wanted justice, and justice was starting to take shape. Being falsely accused had been humiliating. For a while, it felt like my identity had been stolen. Students who once smiled at me avoided me. Friends whispered when I walked by. Even teachers seemed wary. But once the truth came out, something remarkable happened. Friends came forward to apologize. Teachers acknowledged their mistakes. Students who had doubted me now looked at me with respect. I learned that reputation isn't just what people say about you. It's how you handle adversity. Standing up, showing patience, and presenting facts, not just emotions, can restore what was almost destroyed. Through all of this, I changed. I realized that life will always test you, sometimes unfairly, but it's in those moments of struggle that your strength is revealed. I became more confident, more cautious, and more determined. I no longer feared being misunderstood. I learned that truth, patience, and courage are tools stronger than rumors or lies. The school administration recognized that this incident had exposed flaws in their procedures. They implemented changes to prevent students from being falsely accused. Stricter verification before suspensions, monitoring for hacked or impersonated accounts, encouraging students to report suspicious online behavior. My case became an example for change, showing the school that listening to students and investigating carefully matters. It was a small victory, but a meaningful one. The same system that almost destroyed me was now becoming better, because I refused to stay silent. Not everyone returned. Some friendships were irreparably damaged by the rumors, but new alliances formed. Students who admired my courage came forward. I realized that sometimes the people who truly matter will stand by you when it counts. And those who abandon you during hardships, well, they reveal who they really are. This chapter of my life taught me about loyalty, trust, and the importance of surrounding yourself with genuine people. Now, sitting in my room at night, I think about everything I went through, the humiliation of being suspended, the fear of not being believed, the careful, painstaking work to uncover the truth. It all feels surreal. But I wouldn't change a thing. Every step taught me lessons I couldn't have learned otherwise. Stand up for yourself, even if no one else does. Evidence and patience are stronger than anger or panic. Justice is worth fighting for, but revenge for its own sake isn't. I fought not just to clear my name, but to make sure truth wins, no matter how difficult the path. If there's one thing I want anyone listening to this story to remember, it's this. Life will sometimes throw accusations, doubts, and unfairness your way. People might doubt you, even those closest to you. But don't let that break you. Stand firm, collect your facts, stay calm and strategic, fight for the truth. Because when you do bust, the world will eventually see who you really are. And in the end, the person who tried to destroy you will be the one left exposed. The day came when the school announced a meeting to resolve the conflict formally. Lila was called in, along with her parents. I was there with my mom, who now understood the truth completely, and a few supportive teachers who had witnessed my resilience. Walking into the principal's office that morning, my stomach was tight, but my mind was clear. I had done everything I could, meticulously gathered proof, documented every step, and now the truth would speak for itself. Lila tried to maintain her confidence, but I could see it faltering. She shifted in her seat. Her parents looked concerned. Even Principal Rayan seemed more serious than usual. I laid out my notebook, piece by piece. Screenshots, IP logs, witness statements, all pointing to Lila's deception. "This shows beyond doubt that I was framed," I said, voice calm but firm. "I did not send any messages. The account was impersonating me, and the activity came from a library computer that Lila used on that day." Silence filled the room. The kind of silence that can either crush you or set you free. And this time, it was liberating. Principal Rayan turned to Lila. "Is this true?" she asked. Lila's face drained of color. Her voice trembled. I didn't mean to." But the evidence was overwhelming. Every lie she tried to hide crumbled under the weight of facts. The counselor's eyes widened. Teachers exchanged glances. Even her parents had to accept the truth. In that moment, I realized something powerful. Truth doesn't just win. It silences every lie. The school decided to reverse my suspension immediately. Official letters were sent out, clearing my name publicly. Lila faced appropriate consequences: restricted computer access, mandatory counseling, and a formal warning added to her record. For the first time in weeks, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Not just because my name was cleared, but because justice had been done. Students who had whispered behind my back now looked at me with respect. Some apologized quietly, others simply smiled, and that somehow felt better than words. Walking out of the office that day, I understood a truth I would carry forever. Life may try to shame you, people may doubt you, but if you hold on to truth, gather your courage, and fight strategically, you can overcome almost anything. I hadn't just defended myself, I had exposed the weakness of lies, the fragility of deception, and the strength of persistence. In the weeks that followed, I noticed subtle changes. Teachers treated me with newfound respect. Students stopped spreading rumors. Friends who had abandoned me returned, apologizing sincerely. More importantly, I noticed my own transformation. I had learned patience, resilience, and strategic thinking. I had discovered that strength doesn't always come from confrontation. It comes from preparation, clarity, and inner courage. And in a way, I was proud. Proud not because I exposed Lila, but because I refused to let injustice define me. If there's one lesson I want you to take away from this story, it's simple. Never let false accusations or unfair treatment make you doubt yourself. Life will throw challenges your way. People may try to hurt you intentionally or unintentionally, But standing firm, documenting facts, and approaching problems strategically can restore not only your reputation, but your peace of mind. Justice isn't always easy. It's not always instant, but it is always worth fighting for, especially when you know the truth in your heart. And sometimes, the person who tried to break you will be the one left exposed. Now, when I walk through the hallways, I do so with confidence. I know who I am, I know my strength, and I know that no matter what challenges come my way, I have the power to defend myself. For anyone listening to this story, believe in yourself, trust your instincts, fight for the truth, and remember, courage, patience, and strategy are stronger than fear, rumors, or lies. Because in the end, justice is not just about punishment, it's about restoring balance and reclaiming your life. Weeks had passed since the confrontation. Life returned to a kind of normal, but it wasn't the same normal as before. I walked the halls of my school with a quiet confidence now, not because I was popular, but because I had learned the most important lesson. My worth wasn't defined by what others said about me. The whispers faded. The rumors dissolved. Even Lila, now facing the consequences of her actions, avoided eye contact. For the first time in a long while, I felt free. I realized something that day. Being falsely accused doesn't break you. It teaches you resilience. It tests your courage. And if you face it with determination and strategy, it can make you stronger than you ever imagined. Looking back, I understand why these things happen. Some people act out of envy, some people lie to protect themselves, and sometimes systems fail to protect the innocent. But that doesn't mean we are powerless. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every injustice is a chance to stand up, not just for yourself, but for what is right. And the most important lesson I learned? Strength is not just in proving yourself right. Strength is in maintaining your integrity while others try to bring you down. If you're ever in a situation where you're wrongly accused, where rumors spread, or where people doubt you, stay calm, gather your evidence, seek support from those who will actually listen. Stand firm with dignity. The world may seem unfair, and people may fail you, but truth has a way of coming to light. And when it does, the power will shift back to you. You don't have to fight blindly. You don't have to fight in anger. You fight with clarity, courage, and conviction. That's how you reclaim your life. That's how you win your justice. And that's how you prove to the world that nothing and no one can define who you truly are. As I sit here reflecting on everything I endured, I feel a quiet pride. Not because I exposed Lila, not because I cleared my name, but because I refused to let injustice make me someone I'm not. I learned that life will always have challenges and people will sometimes try to drag you down. But the most powerful weapon you can wield is your own resilience, intelligence, and unwavering commitment to the truth. So, to anyone listening, keep your head high, fight smart, protect your truth, and remember, even in the darkest moments, the light of justice and integrity will always shine through.